Ladies and gentlemen, it's Evening Hour Live, February 2021, episode 33. Here we go. Friday night. All right, people, come on in. Wow. That was crazy. It just skipped. Okay. You can't move around when you have a CD player. Fallon, Talon, Bone, Rick, William, Eric, come on in. All right. Now we're on final. What's up, everybody? Come on in. It's Friday night. Yeah. Let's have some fun, man. I'm back on the water. We got a good crowd in here. I got some weird stuff I wanted to chat about tonight. While we grace this beautiful music, here's a quote. Thanks to Rick Sherman on this one. Rick, you sent me up for this one. Quote, look at this. Read that one. I don't know. I really like this quote. Chew on that one for a minute. Yep. It's a pretty good quote. Rick, I found the full quote on that. It's a little longer. Yeah, I don't know. It means a lot. I don't want to say much about it. Maybe I'll post it again at the end. Chew on it. Made me think of a lot of things. Anywho, if you're new, I'd like you to hit that subscribe button, hit the notify button, hit the like button, trying to get to 1,000. When I get to 666 subscribers, which is going to be soon, might be like next Friday. I'm literally, I think I'm going to do a giveaway contest, and I'm going to do it in here. I'm going to make it whoever's live watching wins. Bam, right there. Whoever's participating in the chat, I'll probably do something where you got to just type something in and we'll pick somebody. Yeah. Getting close to the 1,000 mark. So, that's it. If you're having fun with these shows, and I've been doing a lot of them, the least you can do is hit subscribe. Blah, blah, blah. The donations rock. The donations are going right into my show. I'm literally taking any donations and buying gear. Trying to make it as good as possible. And today, I got something cool. Look. Let me move this. And you can go, boop. Where's my... There, look. Yay. Look what I got. I got a camera. Thank you, everybody. All my donors. Look at this. Now, yeah. Ashworth, 77. Good evening. So yeah, that's it. This is a beast of a camera. I'm not using it yet. Hence, the video is not as good as it could be. I need help with this. My son, who's a techie guy, is going to help me with this. I can't. I mean, look at the I almost called this a rule book. I read so many rule books. This is the user manual. That's a pretty thick user manual, folks. I've never owned a camera my whole life. I've owned disposable cameras. I did have a digital camera when they first came out, and I didn't use it much. So, thank you, everybody. I'm excited. My show's going to look better. I'm going to be able to use my phone while I'll be able to look at Instagram and swipe while I'm... Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, I'll be able to text and chat. I won't have to go over here. It'll be easier. Trust me. And I also bought a dummy battery. I didn't know about these. I didn't know what that meant. This is a battery that it enables it to be on for a long period of time and not overheat. So this was recommended. Has anybody ever been to the B&H, the big one in New York City? I mean, that's the only one, I believe. B&H Photos is... It's kind of like a New York institution at this point. Skip the instructions. It's a must-see. If you're ever in New York City and you want to go, wow, look at this business, it's kind of cool, man. It's like the Walmart of cameras and electronic equipment. It's massive. I mean, massive. I think it's 3 stories. They literally have conveyor belts so that no one has to touch anything. Like, when you get your product, you go upstairs, you tell them what you want, they show it to you, then you go pay, and then your stuff's miraculously there. They have these, like, conveyor belts all over. It's amazing. They do a great job there. The staff, pretty knowledgeable. They weren't... I don't know. It was funny. I was like, look, I'm doing live streaming, and, they... oh, yeah, they have a museum of old cameras, yeah. They were like, oh, that's not a live stream camera. And I'm like, they were trying to get me to buy... I'm not kidding here. I'm going to turn it up so you can see. This is the kind of camera they were trying to sell me on. Okay? This has no dynamic range. This, even though it's an iPhone, has dynamic range. And the camera I bought has that and then some. So they were like trying to sell me. It was funny. They didn't know what I was doing. And it reminded me of a story about... I'm sure you've all been to Sam Ash or Guitar Center or those places. And my son who's with me, and he was like making fun of, the guitar store guy. And I always tell my son the story. Like, I remember going into a Sam Ash and needing a guitar cable that was long. I think I was looking for a 20-foot or a 25-foot cable. And the guy's like, I'm like, yo, you got any 25-foot cables? And the guy's like, no, don't have them. 20-foot, no. And then he was like, you don't need a 20-foot cable, dude. And I was like, no, I need a 20-foot cable. And he's like, dude, no one needs a 20-foot cable. You don't need a 20-foot cable. And I was like, dude, I need a 20-foot cable. Like, you want me to sit here and argue with you? I'm playing large venues. Like, my amp is like 40 feet away sometimes. I'm running around. And then he was like, and I was like, dude, why did I have to go through all of that? Like, it's ridiculous. Oh, yeah, Fallon brought up the overhead tram of merchandise. So when you're upstairs, it's like under the counter. But when you're downstairs where you pay, yeah, it's overhead. It's crazy. Yeah, it's an intense store, and I'm not a tech guy. I don't like equipment, electronic equipment. I don't like it. I'm not kidding you. It like annoys me. I don't like the aesthetic of it. Is it because I'm an old man? I don't know. It might be. I never liked video game consoles. I never liked controls, buttons. Not my thing. I like knives. I like guns. I like gunpowder. I like wood. I like vinyl and plastic. But I don't like I don't know. It's an aesthetic thing. It's kind of funny. So yeah, so that was my adventure. I got up early today and we drove into the city. Manhattan looks normal. Like, you wouldn't know that a lot of businesses are still closed and that thousands of restaurants are gone, and you wouldn't know. The movie theaters are all boarded up. And then you get to Midtown, and then you can feel it. There's no... someone said that's why they make wireless systems. I have some words about that. I'll tell you a story about that. Yeah, so then you get to Midtown, and it's a little ghost towny. I mean, there's no tourists. I mean, there are some, but it's not. Broadway's gone, so. So Eric, yeah. So when my band got a record deal, we got money to get new equipment. And of course, the first thing I went and bought was an SVT Classic, which is a bass amplifier. It's my favorite one. To me, if you're playing rock and roll bass, that's it. You're done. It's a very simple thing. I like the growl that it has a certain growl to. I could talk hours about SVTs. Anywho, I bought my cabinet. I had a chance to buy Jaco Pastorius's cabinet, but it needed all new speaker cones, and I was like, I wanted it. It was cheap, but it would have been a lot of money to fix. So I ended up buying off of Craig from Sick of It All and Agnostic Front. I bought his old bass rig, his cabinet, 8x10 SVT rig. So I bought that used. I bought a brand new SVT head Classic, the SVT Classic, which now I think they're about $3,000. Back then they were about $1,200-$1,300. To me, the Cadillac of bass amplifiers. And then I bought a wireless unit. And I remember at the time, there was the El Cheapo, the good one that, most people used, and then the one that AC/DC used. The really expensive one. And I wasn't going to get that. And my band, we run around. We move around. And some of the one guy, Sean, is literally just running around the whole time. I hated using a wireless rig. I couldn't stand it. I felt naked and lost. Like, I didn't like it. I don't know. I can't even begin. And it also it felt like it had a delay, and it might have back then. The older ones did have a little bit of a delay. And then one night, I don't know if you guys remember the band Orgy. Remember the band Orgy? Their hit song was a cover. We were on tour with them, and I was not a fan of their music, but some of the guys in the band were our friends. And one night, mine farted out on me. It wasn't working, and I was like, done. It's just one extra thing to worry about that needs a battery. I don't even use active pickups or pedals, for that matter. I'm that guy. I run it through a tuner, and that's it. I have a tuner. So, yeah, I hate those things. I'm a minimalist. Just like I hate a gear. I don't like equipment. I don't want any equipment. I want one thing. Blue Monday, yes, that was their hit song. I got to see that band play a lot. And that was their hit song. I don't know why they picked my band to go on the road with them. We were a bunch of dirty, glam, sleazy punk rockers. And they're, you saw them live. So Amir, the boss of the band, and he was the guitar guy. He's also from the band Rough Cuts. He was our friend. He was a fan, and yeah, I don't know. They liked us. I was not a fan of their band. Now, I will say, I'm not a fan of electronic music necessarily, or dance music, or pop rock, or any of that stuff. But I will say, watching them live, Amir, the guitar guy, used to say, like, if I die, ain't nobody can do what I'm doing. So all of those weird sound effects, he was doing them live. I watched him. Like, he could do amazing things with the sound. Not my style, though. But they were technicians. All right, I could talk hours rock stories. And I have them, and I will tell them on the show. Let's get into the material tonight. Jung Cults and Quotes. Talon, I have not heard of Thunderlip. Is that a band? I'll check them out. Also, if this feed cuts, if this if it's gone, give it 5 minutes. I got to reboot the computer. Also, if it doesn't work, go to Instagram, Cardone Magic. One word, Cardone Magic. And I'll pick it up there, if that ever happens. Also, if you're not following me on Instagram, follow me, because I supplement this channel on Instagram. I wish YouTube had some sort of Instagram built into YouTube. For instance, and if you're watching and you work for YouTube, I have regular guests that come in here and chat every time I do a show. which is why it's fun. And which is why I like doing it, because I'm getting friendly with y'all. Like, we hang out now. It would be cool that if you went to my channel, there was a message board. Like an actual... And I could post things, and you could post things, and we could share with each other. That would be cool. Rick Sherman, you're right. Thunder Lips with an S is Hulk Hogan's character in Rocky 3. Thunder Lips. It's how the movie starts. He's boxing Thunder Lips in the ring. And then Mr. T shows up. I remember seeing Rocky 3 in the movies as a kid and not liking it. I remember seeing Rocky 4 in the movie theaters and going ape in the crowd. I remember losing it in the movie theater for that one. The end, epic. I have some very good movie memories. Seeing films where the audience lost it in the, just screaming and fun. Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is one of my greatest memories of seeing a film in a movie theater. Nightmare on Elm Street 2, known as the Gay Freddy movie. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. I don't know if you know the story about it. There's a documentary on just the film because of what happened. And I didn't notice it as a kid, but a lot of people were like, hey, this movie has kind of a gay theme. And when the director was asked, he denied it. The actor guy, it kind of messed his career up a bit. But it turns out that the kid in the movie really was gay in real life, and the film director really was making a film with an allusion to what it's like to be gay and coming out of the closet, and he finally admits it. Now, when I was in middle school, I didn't really notice it, but if you watch it now, it's clearly there. It's my favorite Freddy movie. I don't know why. I like the first three, and the second one was the one that I remember loving. Caddyshack, you saw that in the movie theater. I did not, and I can imagine that being an epic moment. I remember seeing Flash Gordon in the movies. I remember seeing Ghostbusters. But like, party vibe, Jason versus Freddy. I saw it in the oldest movie theater in New York City. It was in Ridgewood. It's now gone. It was literally the oldest operating movie theater. It was known as the Murder Theater for a while because someone was killed in the movie theater not that long ago. It got kind of sketch. And I saw Jason Freddy opening night, sold out, all teenagers underage, ketchup on the movie screen from people throwing hot dogs. And I got in there and my seat was soaking wet from, I guess, soda being spilled all night. And I ran out to the managers. I was like, yo, man, my seat is just like drenched. And he went like this. He just handed me a piece of cardboard. I was like, yes. Great memory. Great memory. All right, let's talk about this tonight. So it all started with me the other day. I took a Jung test. A Jung Personality test, which is called, and I'll tell you, an MB test, or known as a, what's it called? It's called a Myers-Briggs personality test. Anybody ever take that test? Question. I'd like your thoughts. If you've never taken one, I put a link to one in the description. I also put a link to a Scientology video, which we're going to talk about a lot tonight. So, we're going to get into Scientology. I didn't put it in the title. I didn't want to draw any heat. As you know, they don't like it when you criticize them. They have a thing called fair game. And Rick Sherman, who's in the house, is a very close friend of mine. And Rick and I, for years, chatted about Scientology a lot. I've read a lot of stuff. I've watched a lot of documentaries, so I'm going to talk about that tonight. But before I get to that, I took this Myers-Briggs test. And I know a little bit about the Jung stuff and the archetypes, and I didn't know that they formalized it and made it this thing that you can take a test and they can go, yo, you're this. So I took the test, and the results were really accurate. They were so accurate, it was a little uncanny, and yeah. I was like, wow, this stuff works. Now, when you see the test, I'll read you some of the questions. Let me see here. Myers-Briggs. So, for instance... All right, so when you take this test, at the end, it says that there are 16 types. So, here are the kind of questions. And you should all take the test and see. You get like a rating. And my rating number was... ENTJ. And I looked it up on other websites, read what it had to say, and was like, wow, it's pretty accurate. But listen, the questions are pretty good. You are almost never late for your appointments. And the questions are yes, like all caps, yes, no caps, uncertain, and then no, lowercase, no, uppercase. So it's like, yes, yes, I don't know, no. It's that, right? It's like a upside down bell. Every question has that. Yes, no, that whole thing. And, you like to be engaged in an active, fast-paced job. You enjoy having a wide circle of acquaintances. So for me, that was yes, I do. You feel involved when watching TV soaps. So that one, I don't watch soaps, but I do feel involved when I watch certain things I like. And things that I really like, I really feel involved. So yeah, you see, so the questions are pretty good. You feel that the world is founded on compassion. To me, that was a weird quote. Founded? And my answer was no. But lowercase. Not no! It was no, not really. So, as you can see... Oh, the record's done. If you ask these questions, I mean, honestly, if I interviewed somebody and just asked those questions, I would be able to tell a lot about them. So, after taking this test, and looking up... Oh, let me flip the record. This vinyl, this is like a super long playing classical record with good weight. Quality vinyl, man. Have you ever bought a record? I almost did a Pennsylvania thing. I almost said boughten. Have you ever boughten a record? Boughten. Is that a word? So this personality test, there's 16 types. It also breaks it down a little more after the 16. And I didn't know, oh my gosh. So, look at the chat. So Eric probably doesn't get the joke in the chat, unless he knows a lot about Scientology. Me and Rick are always using Scientology lingo. Rick, Eric might be a squirrel. Look up squirrel, suppressive. What's the other word? What's the word when you're bad and they kick you out and you're not allowed to talk to them? You're I forget. Anywho, so I'm taking this personality test. I look up the results, and I'm kind of floored at what I see. I looked up a few other places. I'm floored at what I see. Yeah, you get the letters. Yeah, and that's what it is. So, then I did a little research, and here's what I found. Yeah, I got the letters. So here's what I found. Let me just break this down a bit. Thinking, feeling, intuition, sensation. Okay. So here's what I didn't realize. You've got Jung, who comes up with this concept. Oh God, this chat's too good. It's distracting. Uh, you've got Jung, who comes up with this concept of, the conscious, the personal subconscious, and the collective unconscious, or the personal unconscious. And then you have this test that's really detailed. And I mean, it is so detailed that it made me wonder, and it made my BS detector go off. And here's what it is. Okay, so sometimes when things are overly complicated, like astrology, my BS detector goes off. Now, I don't think astrology doesn't work. I choose for it not to work for me. I prefer, for that kind of stuff, tarot cards and other things. I never liked astrology. I think there's too many variables involved, and it's too complex. So when I saw how complicated this Jung personality thing is and how crazy detailed it is, it seemed a little baloney. And then I found something. And this is kind of neat. This is a Jung quote. If I can find it. Hold on. Yeah, I wrote down. It's so complicated, it could be anything, right? Oh yeah, here it is. Every individual is an exception to the rule. And that's Jung. I mean, he said that. So he didn't want his stuff categorized in these little boxes like this, I don't think. But that's what happened. Well, yeah. I mean, I could do a whole thing on why I don't like astrology. I don't like how it was invented. I find it flawed. So that's why I never liked it. And I've had expert, really famous astrologers give me a reading, and it was wildly inaccurate. And not only was it wildly inaccurate, they were using weird charts that were kind of woo-woo. But I think any of these mystical things have a point and purpose. It's all on how I decide to frame it. And for some reason, I've always decided to frame astrology as not for me. So I'm looking at this Jung stuff where, why would you bother with the astrology when this Jung thing, you get a result like what I saw? I was like, whoa, this is accurate. And then I was like, and then I did more research. And here's the thing. I honestly think the archetype thing is kind of real. It's the personal unconscious. It's the part in you that you can't grab right. You got to go deep under. You got to really. It's not there. You can't just see it. It's hidden. It's in the dark cracks of your mind. These personality traits. And who said, show me the child and I'll show you the man? That might be Jung. I don't know. It might be that. But I really believe that. Anybody who's a parent can say this. If you have little kids, when they're like babies, you can start to see personality traits that stay with them forever. And so instead of going against the grain, work with it, is how I always thought. And I really think that this Jung stuff has some merit. It does. As for categorizing it, I don't know yet. I just discovered this, and I'm kind of fascinated. The personal unconscious. I have a unique. You're not aware of these thoughts. Like LeVay's clock, a little bit, yeah. I think he used this for that. Disturbing thoughts are buried there. This personal unconscious. If you have a traumatic experience, that's where you stuff this stuff. It gets put there. He studied, from what I'm learning, he did study symbolism and metaphor, which is what I'm always talking about, because I think he realized that these archetypes that are in our unconscious, they do manifest. They do come out. And you can find it in art and literature and all sorts of stuff. He did a lot of research on Hinduism, which has a lot of these archetypes. The gods. I think there's some neat stuff here. I think there's some worthy things to chew on. And in my philosophical studies, I'm trying to stay away from the modern guys and really focus on the ancient stuff for a while. But it's kind of hard not to jump ahead a bit. It really is. Yeah, every individual is an exception to the rule. Yeah, I love this. Woo! So, what does this mean? Well, another time I took a personality test was the one and only time I went to a Scientology center. Has anybody ever been to a Scientology center? I've been to one. It was 1990. I'll say it was either 95 or 96. And it was me and a good friend of mine, Albert Cadabra, the magician. This is literally Rick Sherman. You know Albert. And we were hanging out in Times Square. We might have been going to the arcade. Remember the arcade in Times Square by the Howard Johnsons? We were just running around Times Square. And they had a guy on the corner. Free movie tickets. Free movie tickets. And I love how they always have a free thing they're giving away. So this was free movie tickets. So we were like, oh, it's the Scientology movie. Let's go. Oh, you went deep into what? Scientology or Jung? I'm curious. So, oh yeah, okay, so Fallon, wait till you hear what happened. You're going to love this. I actually like telling this story. So we got the free tickets. We were like, okay, it's not really a movie. It's their recruit film. And we went in, and it was empty. It's on 47th Street in Times Square. 47 or 46. I don't know. Is it across the street from the Edison Diner, which is now gone? Oh, everything's gone. Okay. We go in. They had Dianetics out. I remember there was only one person working. It was a lady. Now, there might have been two, but we were dealing with one. We went into this empty little theater. I don't know. It might have had 40 seats in it. We sat down, and they left. We were in the room alone, and they played the movie. And I remember at one point, maybe 20 minutes in, I went up, and the door was locked. I don't know if all Scientology centers do that. I was like, oh, it's weird. And we knew, I think they told us the movie was about a half an hour long. Now, the film blew my mind. I watched it and was like, wow, I can't believe what's in this movie. And I posted a link to it in the description, okay? You must watch this. It's 30 minutes long. If you have a short attention span, skip the whole film and go to like the last 10 minutes. It's a legendary movie. They don't want anybody to see it. It has some stuff in it that's shocking that made it in. You did? Okay. All right, you know a lot, Amanda. Cool. I didn't know. I know a lot too. Me and Rick Sherman have spent how many hours chatting about Scientology? Thousands? Literally, maybe 1,000 hours of deep discussion. So the film mentions 1,000,000 times that Scientology's a real religion. They mention it 1,000,000 times. It's real. It's real. It's the United States government. Blah, blah, blah. Right? And I'm like, why do they have to keep saying this? I also noticed, it would seem by watching the film, and I know that this is right, but they're not trying to attract new age weirdos. They're trying to attract regular Americans. You know, white bread Christian guy, maybe a Jewish guy, but they want that. They want the regular Joe, you know, the guy that goes to church, but he is thinking about some other stuff. Yes, they have their own film company, and yeah, we're practically OT8, bro. We're definitely doing well on the bridge to learning about it, right? So after the film, one of the things they say in the film that's shocking. So there's a man at the end standing, and you see people going into the church behind him. They're like going in hordes, and he's like, "You could walk away right now, and that would be fine." And then he looks at the camera and he goes, "You could blow your brains out, and that would be fine too. It would be stupid, but you could do that." He literally uses the words "blow your brains out." Go watch the movie. It's like when he said it in the film, I'm sitting beside my buddy. We were like, "What?" He literally says it in the movie. It's like, oh, what? Unbelievable. The TV show is good. The movie Going Clear is great, but it doesn't get too deep in the dirty stuff and the dark stuff because they don't want to get sued. Everybody gets sued, it's hard to... And it's weird, they immediately call you a religious bigot. They use that. They go, "You're a religious bigot. You're a religious bigot." Yeah, great, I'm a religious bigot. I love making fun of all religions. I think religion's fair game. Anybody know what fair game... here's one. Amanda, you know the fair game policy? Amanda, do you know what Operation Snow White is? So, most people don't know this, but Operation Snow White is the largest infiltration of the American government ever on our own soil. It's the largest one. And it was the Scientologists. Look it up. Operation Snow White. You're going to be like, "Oh, how do we not know this?" The American government was blackmailed to give them the non-for-profit status, which is why they get left alone. And Epstein didn't kill himself. I mean, that's it. They got in. See, Amanda, you were in and you don't know what fair game policy is. Fair game is their policy to blackmail. It's called their fair game policy. If you do anything, they go after you. They do it legally. So they won't say, "Joe is a pedophile." They won't do that. They'll put on all the cars in the neighborhood a piece of paper that say, "It is believed that Joe might be a pedophile." That's legal. You're allowed to believe whatever you want. So they're very smart of how they do these things. And that's LRH. That was all him. L. Ron Hubbard. And the chairman, what did I just see his name called? Mr. Cabbage. I'll call him Mr. Cabbage. Mr. Cabbage, yes. Yeah, they did force their way into tax exempt. And they pay less taxes than any church. Because even like Catholics pay some tax on certain things. But they're clean. They got the best one. LRH. You know what LRH is? Every Scientology center has an office for him. In case he comes back. You know who Mr. Cabbage is, Amanda? Mr. Cabbage is really good friends with Mr. Cruz. Cruz and Cabbage are buddies. But, okay, so let's talk about this. At the end of the Scientology film, the first thing they do, after they tell you they don't believe in modern psychiatry, and they have their own version of psychology, they give you a personality test, a basic test. And I remember it going, wait, this is a basic personality test. And you just said you don't like this kind of stuff in the film. And the lady working literally like took the papers back and the pencils and the stuff and was like, "Guys, bye." I was like, they know. They know it's not going to work. They knew that we knew, or that we were suppressives. Suppressives are, not going to fly. In case, when? Yes, I think all all churches should pay taxes. My way of dealing with it, if I was king of the planet, it would be no, I don't know about the Pilgrim experiment. Do tell. I would just say, hey, we have a new way of taxing churches. It's called the charity tax. The charity fund. We're all going to dump our money. You're going to pay your tax, but it's going to pay for the health care. You tax the churches, we all have free health care for the rest of our lives. They won't do it because they don't want to pay for abortions. That'll be part of the problem. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. But guess what? They should be paying something. In Germany, I don't know if people know this. In Germany, everybody gets taxed, and that money goes to religions. Think about that. Kind of weird. And here, the government will involve itself with churches that they think, like for instance, the government they gave a deal to the Creation Museum because it was going to bring jobs. So if they think it's going to bring jobs, they'll go along with it. But I don't like that either. The secret stuff? Oh. So you think you bugged them out, Amanda, and that kind of scared them away? Once they know you know early, I think they get you out. But once they have you for a long time, yeah, they have a religion tax in Germany. And people don't realize Poland has blasphemy laws. God, can you imagine? If I was getting convicted for a blasphemy crime, I would rig up some special effects in the courthouse so I could do this and make my hand turn red whenever I want. So let's talk about Scientology a little more here and round the show out. Because I love this e-meter gadget they use. It's like a magic trick. It's wonderful. Amanda, did you ever get to do the e-meter? Now, I'm so glad that we have somebody who actually went to these things. The e-meter is a, quote, religious artifact they use. It's their version of a confession booth. In New York City, you'll see them in the subways, and they have a free stress test. And they sit you down and they give you an e-meter reading. Now, here's how they trick you into joining. And tell me, Amanda, if this is the trick they got you to do. It's a little bit of a magic trick. They tell you, oh, you took the writing classes. Yeah, they have a few hooks. Well, the subway one is this. They'll say, thoughts have mass. So anytime science gets mixed in with some of this stuff, it gets a little gray and easier to sell to people. So they'll go, thoughts have mass. And they're going to prove it. They'll go, watch. So you hold the cans. It looks like literally 2 cans with wires that go to a machine and a needle. And they'll go, okay, you ready? And you're holding the cans. And then they go like this. They pinch you. And when they give you a little pinch, the needle goes, and it moves. It goes, boop, right? And then they go, watch. Now think of me pinching you. And you go, huh. And the needle moves. And they go, see? There it is. Your thoughts literally send that signal. So, okay. Let me explain to you what the e-meter is. It's half of a polygraph test. It's measuring galvanic skin response. That's it. Now, what does that mean? Well, the moisture, the pressure, all of these things will make that needle move. And from what I gather, you can make that machine do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. You can use some wordplay and byplay and some imagery to make that person look like they're nuts or not nuts. It's, again, another type of a magic trick. All it does is it measures resistance to electrical flow. And there's some things that make that happen. Now, the reason why they think it works is they have this thing called mental image picture, which doesn't make sense. It should either be called a mental image or a mental picture. I don't know why it's mental image picture. A lot of these things are just things that LRH, L. Ron Hubbard, just pulled out of thin air and just ran with it. So they're saying, like, whenever you picture something in your imagination, it really is there. Well, okay, are they right about that? So if you look up, do thoughts have mass? It's a little gray, because does light particle count as mass? It is kind of. So they just can't measure any of this stuff. Like the words they're using are kind of like how creationists use that word kind I'm always bringing up. They sound good, but when you start to take it apart, there's too many holes in it and whatever. So they're saying that image in your mind is real. The trauma in your mind is real. Well, yeah, the trauma in your subconscious, that's Jung. That's real. Is it mass? I don't know. Why? I mean, do we need to call it that? I don't know. Now, here's my question. That mental picture they're referring to, do they know what aphantasia is? Thoughts equal sympathetic magic. Well, yeah, thoughts are clearly a reality. But are they substance? Are they mass? Well, what does that mean? I don't know. Does it have to be or not? Does anybody know what aphantasia is? It's a serious question. And I'll tell you what it is. As far as I know, I'm going to tell you what it is. Because how does that play into this? Aphantasia is the disorder of not having a mind's eye. It doesn't mean you can't remember things. It doesn't mean you can't be creative, but you are missing the close your eyes and visualize thing. Now, here's how I would describe it. If you ask me to close my eyes and visualize an apple, I can go, yeah, there it is. Once it's there, I can fill in all the details and see it in my mind. And things appear completely out of my control, like there's a stool, always. Whenever you say think of an apple, I think of it on a stool. It's brown. There's grain in it. Sure, there's a cloud now in the background out the window. See, I'm building this picture. I can see it. People that have aphantasia don't do that. Now, I get a little nervous when I bring this subject up because I've been around people that notice while I'm explaining it to them that they don't do that they kind of have it. My buddy Pataki once told me he doesn't think he was like, yeah, I don't really visualize that way, which means he has another way of doing it. So I think people that have aphantasia, they don't even know they have it, and their brain has another way of doing that. They don't use mind's eye. They use a memory, a different way of doing it. When I heard about this and I started doing research on it on my own, I was like, what other ailments like that do we have that we don't know about? Because you would never know that you do that unless someone pointed it out. I was doing a hypnosis class, a magic class, where I was teaching hypnosis to a little kid. And the little kid, when I was saying to close his eyes and imagine the sun shining beams on his feet, he was getting upset because he's like, what do you mean imagine it? I don't know what you mean see it in my mind. None of the other kids they did it like that. But him, he couldn't do it. And I was like, that's okay, buddy, just breathe. And I didn't know what to say. It's really interesting. Yeah. It's something that when I bring it up, I get a little nervous because people are like, whoa, oh my God, that's me. What does that mean for Scientology? What they're missing the mass? Like, it kind of proves that their thing about this mental image picture being a reality and part of their problem. Because in Scientology, they also can give themselves their own readings where they hold the cans and they're asking themselves questions. And they're actually chatting with one of their thetans, which is what that is. They're like lost souls in the story. I don't know, Amanda, you didn't get OT3, so you don't know the secrets. But yeah, your bad stuff in you are other aliens called thetans. While you're getting this e-meter reading in Scientology, which you have to pay money every time you do it, the person in the chair asks you your crimes. They'll go, what are your crimes? What are your crimes? What are your crimes? And if you don't have any, you make them up. And they write them down. And they go in a file. So now you're making up bad things you did and they're putting them in. Oh, it's bad. When I was little and I had to go to confession for Catholic Church, I remember making up things I did because I felt guilty because I didn't have anything to say to the priest. How sick is that? How sick? That's sick to force children to do things like that. It's not good. You're forcing your kids to make up bad things they did just to appease the priest. Horrible, disgusting habits that we have. That's one right there. That's a tradition that needs to be eradicated. Oh, you already knew the secrets. Amanda, did you ever bring them up and they told you not to bring them up, or they told you you were crazy? Because there's a lot of videos of celebrities going, Xenu? Oh, please, there's no Xenu. What are you talking about? Yeah, Xenu is real. Oh, there's recordings of LRH talking about Xenu, the Overlord. Again, I think he was just making it up as he was going along, and you know, they just stuck with it. You got to listen to Leah Remini, the actress, talk about when she reached OT3. OT3 is where they give you the briefcase, and they handcuff it to you, and you walk into the room, and you open it, and they watch you, and that's where you read the secrets. And she did it, but they let her mother watch. Because her mother, again, if you give them a lot of money, they'll let you do whatever you want. And the mom watched her do it, and yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but you should look it up. She tells the story. Yeah, I know a lot about Scientology just from reading and chatting with people and asking questions. And whenever I meet an ex-Scientologist, I have a million questions. Whenever I meet an ex-Mormon, I have a million questions. Mormonism's the other one I like to chat about. They have some funny little nuances. I'm going to do an evening hour on, and I'm going to write it down right now. It's going to be next week. I'm going to do an evening hour on the Book of Abraham from the Book of Mormon. I'm going to write it right down. It's going to be called Book of Abraham Bunk. There's the title. The Book of Abraham Bunk. Oh, Fallon! I love it. Fallon just said, Scientology should fess up. I think the Xenu thing is a good selling point. Wow. Can you imagine if they went that route? That's like McDonald's going, I always said this, McDonald's should be, their commercial should be, yo folks, I hate to spoil it, but we're junk food. We are. We're junk food in its core form. But guess what? It's okay. Just don't eat it all the time. Can you imagine if they sold it like that? That would be kind of cool if they did that. They were like, look, folks, yes, Xenu the Overlord sent the Thetans here in a volcano. And those things in the volcano are in you, in you, and in you, and in you. Maybe they need to do that. I do know that they're losing members. Their members are just going down, down, down. So they're squeezing them for more money. Kate Bornstein, ex-Scientologist, I didn't know. I'll look at it. The Xenu and the parasites and it. So here's the crazy part. The Scientology story, to me, is more logical and makes more sense than the Judeo-Christian Bible. I hate to say it, and I hate to defend it, but it's a little more linear and makes more sense than the story of God getting bored, creating man with free will, man messing up, and then God having to fix the problem, sends himself to sacrifice himself to himself to stop the problem he himself originally created. To me, that is way more nutso than the Xenu story and the Joseph Smith story. Just saying. I love when I hear Christians go, can you believe how crazy the Scientologists, the stories they believe are? I always thought that was weird because I'm like, God sending himself to sacrifice himself to himself to stop a problem he created makes no sense to me and never has. And I always tell Christian friends, and I'm literally from my heart, I'm not making fun of it. If you can explain it so that I understand it, I'll go to church tomorrow. I'll literally wake up and get on my knees and go down there and ask for forgiveness for my sins. But no one's been able to explain it to me other than God's mysterious. Okay. That's the worst explanation I've ever heard. What else did I want to say about this? So on the note of the e-meter, I have been obsessed with Scientology for a very long time. I just find it fascinating. I find the whole thing fascinating. I do want to buy and own an e-meter. And I've always wanted one, and I think I'm going to get one sooner than later. You can get them on eBay. They're about $300 to $400. Mark 7 is the... Okay, so now they use one called a Mark 8 that's got a Wi-Fi thing. And so every so many months, if you don't update it, the actual thing stops working. Think about that for a second. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because imagine my Blu-ray player has Wi-Fi. What if I own a movie that I own in DVD form? I don't know, let's say I have a Blu-ray of... I'm trying to think of a movie. Oh, you ready? Here we go. What if I have a Blu-ray of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? The reason why I bring this up is Rick Sherman brought up the other day. The main character, Jack Nicholson's main character, he is in jail for statutory rape, and when he describes it in the film, it's kind of icky. And I didn't realize it until recently. I'd seen the movie a million times when I was younger, but I watched it recently with my kids, and I was like, whoa, there's some wild stuff in it. So imagine that film is politically incorrect. Or like, let's say I have the Blu-ray of the Dukes of Hazzard, and that's it. When in the cancel culture world we're living in, it's banned. Well, if you have the Blu-ray and you play it, and your Blu-ray player has Wi-Fi, they can stop you from watching it, can't they? You see, that's the thing about this wireless stuff. It's weird, is they can get in it now. So Scientology made an e-meter, the Mark 8, that if you don't update it every 8 months through their special stuff, it stops working. That's wild. So I'm not going to be getting the Mark 8. I will be getting a Mark 6 or 7. I want one of the pretty ones with the colors that looks oval with all the buttons and dials. I hate electronic equipment, but I want an e-meter because you can do a couple tricks with it. A Blu-ray of Battlefield Earth. Oh my God. So when I do get an e-meter, I will, on the show, demonstrate it, and we'll talk about it. It'll be an episode. Again, now you know where your donations are going to be going. To me buying an e-meter and using it. I do want to get one, and I've been doing research on it. And I will find it. And now I know that I can do an episode on the Book of Abraham from the Book of Mormon. And I'm going to do an e-meter episode, which is pretty cool. Folks, dude, I had fun tonight. Tonight kind of rolled along. Nurse Ratched. Yeah, I didn't get to see the TV show. There's a TV show about Nurse Ratched. The original Nurse Ratched's pretty awesome. I did some scene work for the play in college, and I was Martini, who's the Danny DeVito character. I always got cast playing little Italian dudes. Wonder why. Huh. They aren't letting you have one. Well, you're not supposed to have an e-meter unless you're a member and you're taught to use it correctly. And there's a book that LRH, I think, wrote on how to use it correctly, which I'll be getting to. I'd like to know how they teach how to use it, because it is kind of a magic trick. It is a pseudoscience trick. You can get it to do whatever you want. If you can get someone to believe a lie detector test is real, they'll admit everything you want them to admit. And that's what that is too. Everything's fake, folks. Everything. Me, you, this show, the whole world. It's all fake. If the Mark 8 has Wi-Fi, you can zoom your e-readings. Sleazy P Martini, someone brought up. Anybody know who that is? When I was in high school, I stuck around after a Guar show, and I watched him, Sleazy P, out of costume, throwing everything in a bin. And he's one of the members of Guar. Don is his real name. And I was like watching him like, wow, they throw all that blood-soaked rubber armor into a big bin. And I was like, how often do you guys clean that stuff? And he's like, every 3 days we like hose it off. Imagine the smell. Well, Guar smelled bad. Odorous Urungus was famous for smelling bad. And I remember when Dave Brocky, may peace be upon him, when Dave Brocky died, Dave Brocky was a pundit on Fox News, and I don't think Fox News realized he was making fun of them while he was on the show. Amazing. When he died, they did a little memorial for him, and they were like, we got to tell you, he smelled bad when he came in the studio because they couldn't wash the stuff. Fallon, thank you. Fallon just did a donation. Ba-boom! That $20 is going into my e-meter fund and my camera fund too, because the funds didn't pay for the whole thing, but they came close. They came close, folks. Yeah. Thank you, Fallon. When I get the e-meter, I'm going to learn the manual. I want to learn how to do real readings with it. I think it's going to be fun, and I might make a magic trick out of it. I might make a little bit of a magic act out of it. They don't like it when you use it. They take offense to it. It's a religious artifact, literally, in their religion. I think it's funny that they have a plug-in device as a religious artifact. Kind of cool. Kind of humorous and cool. All at the same time. When you're out of the loop of that stuff, you can kind of look at it all as this one fun ball of... Yeah, Guar's effing manager. Yeah, Sleazy P's cool. What else, folks? It's after 9. It's Friday. I'm going to start my weekend. My weekend started... I started my weekend 25 years ago. So, it's the weekend for everybody else now, and I'm going to jump on that train. And I'm going to drink a lot of water. I don't drink booze. And I am going to rage tonight all through the weekend. It's Valentine's Day. It's winter break for New York City kids. What else? It's going to snow more. King Kong Godzilla's coming out. And I'm going to buy an e-meter and learn how to use it. So, you guys rule. I got Amanda, Talon, Fallon, Steven. We got Sherman in here. We got Eric. Who else? William. It's Ashworth, Talon, Fallon, everybody. Bone Ripper. Tons of you in here. Party on. Rock and roll. And I'll see you on Monday. I think I'm going to do maybe a Devil's Curtain on Friday. Let's see. Not sure yet. My Devil's Curtains require a little more effort than these episodes, and I'd like to get ready. I need at least a week. I like 2 weeks to get ready. And I'm also working on a magic method. It's coming up. But I'm not going to stay up late tonight. I actually have a magic show at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning in Bombay, India. Yeah, 9 a.m. On Zoom, of course. But I got to get up early and do a magic show. Which is going to be fun. And my magic business is back in... So this is a good sign for y'all, too. Anybody that's suffering because of COVID and the work stuff, I'm booking gigs. People are booking for the summer. People are booking for the fall. It's coming back. I can feel it. It's starting slow, but for sure. So cross your fingers. It's going to be good. Yes, thank you, Amanda, for your sharing. Your Scientology stuff. I know sometimes people have a hard time talking about that stuff. Thank you. And at some point, I might have you on as a guest, and I'll actually just interview you about your experience. Thank you, Fallon, for the donations. And yes, Fibes is going to be an episode. Saint Fibes, as I like to call him. Folks, my name is Cardone. This was episode 33 of my evening hour. And you're watching the channel Cardone Entertainment. Please subscribe, like, notify bell. Party on Wayne. And I'll see you on Monday. Over and out.